or you guys could actually share in the back.
Oh, I'll just talk all about them. No, I'm just kidding. So just briefly here, I mean, we're trying to encapsulate a lot of history in a small amount of time, but just to go back really quickly to what Will said about we had to raise $60,000 in 60 days, and that was mind-blowing. That was like an impossible task. It wasn't, because it happened, but that's really how that felt. That was more than we would have ever done before, that was just raising the roof completely. And just again to reiterate that really this community rallied around when that idea came up. This community said, we can do this, let's make this happen. And you guys have been a part of that and are a part of this next season as well. And so it's just really exciting where we are today. But anyway, the point of the Glory House of getting that was wanting to have an intentional community space where people could come and live together and just choose to live in Christian community, to encourage one another, to grow in their faith together, to have spiritual friendships, on purpose. They're not just your roommate. They're someone that's going to encourage you, that's going to confront you in love when needed. And it was really born out of a place where some things that I had experienced in my campus ministry. I lived in a community house, and it had 12 people living in it, so way more. Can you imagine? Let's fit more people in there. But it was a huge house. And you know what? It was very imperfect, okay? It was very much imperfect. We were 12 girls trying to share 2 bathrooms. Nobody had cell phones. We had 1 phone line, and you couldn't talk for more than 10 minutes, just to give you a taste. And so we were girls just trying to make it work. But we were committed to growing together, to praying for each other, to being vulnerable with each other, and that was enough, okay? And so each year, even though there were times when it was like, so-and-so cut off the phone, you pick it up and be like, you still on the phone? Situations like that. It was still a beautiful thing. And I remember going to live there, and I didn't come from a Christian home, and I wanted to live there. I wanted to experience what it was like to live with other people following Jesus. And you know what? It was a little disappointing at first. It was a little bit like, I thought this was just going to be like, we're going to worship all the time and just stay up praying for each other. But that's not the end of the story. But what I realized was it was all real people just learning how to love, learning how to keep following Jesus, and just really succeeding in intentional community some weeks, and then just really missing the mark other weeks, and just needing each other to spur each other on in that. And that had already been in motion for years by the time I joined in. And just launching the Glory House a couple of years ago, I already see a beautiful momentum, and it's not perfect. And every girl that lives there could probably tell you a story about why it's not perfect. I don't know. You have to ask them. But I see a beautiful momentum. I see people committed to each other and committed to growing in community intentionally for Jesus. And so that's what the Glory House is for. That's what it is, and that's what it's becoming. And it's going to take years for it to keep becoming that better and better, glory to glory, right? And so I just applaud the girls who've chosen to live there year 1, year 2, because you guys are the ones just kind of plowing that ground, right? So thank you, you guys, for being willing to do that. And I wanted to come up here and just say it's actually time again already to start thinking about next year. And if you're a gal in our community and you are considering wanting to live in the Glory House, we have an interest form we want you to fill out already before people start signing leases in January for next year. If you're a freshman, you might not know yet, but very quickly you're going to be talking about signing up somewhere for next year. So I think the form will already be posted to the group like pretty soon, or it's this right here. Yep, it's that right there. So that doesn't obligate you or anything. There's no money that's going to exchange hands you filling out that form, but we will respond to that form and go from there and tell you about application deadlines and all of that. But if you have more questions about that, you can talk to me, Leanne, or any of the Glory House residents that are here. Just raise your hands. People can ask you questions. Oh, you guys are awesome.
Feel free to write down these links while I'm talking. I'm not offended by that. So just go ahead. And the other one too for SALT. We had it up there too, right? No, we had the missions one. I had it memorized. DCF missions. ATN. Missions? Because there's more than one trip.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, many of you were part of this. This is probably just our freshmen that don't know all the detail that went in, or